top 10 right fielders of the 2025 season, comparing this list to my preseason top 10 before we eventually get around to making my preseason top 10 for the 2026 season. Now, in order to do this, as always, we have to start by taking a look at the players that I put in the preseason top 10 who were not top 10 right fielders this year. Starting out with Mike Trout, who spent most of his time when he was on the field DHing, so we're not even going to consider him for this list. We will consider him for the top 10 DHs. He was my number 7 preseason right fielder, and then Colton Cowser was our preseason number 9 right fielder. He had an incredible rookie year, but a rather disappointing sophomore season. He also played a little bit more in center field, but overall was very limited due to injuries, so he's not going to get into the top 10 at either position, center field or right field. And then my preseason number 10 was Matt Wallner. He did actually end up hitting pretty well, but it looked pretty ugly for most of the year. I mean, just barely scratched his way to hit above 200. Somehow ended up with a 114 WRC plus, which I don't even really understand how he got to that point, but still just a rather disappointing year for Matt Wallner. I think he's capable of a lot more. Hopefully he gets back to that in 2026. Now for the actual top 10 right fielders of the 2025 season, we got to start this off with the number 10 spot, Roman Anthony of the Boston Red Sox. Now, right field is a very shallow position, I'll just be honest with you, because Roman Anthony played 71 games, and he was incredible when he was on the field. I mean, two things can be true here. He played incredibly well when he was on the field. Secondly, right field is very shallow. That allowed a guy who only played 71 games to get into the top 10. And while right field is very thin, as you'll see later on, it's very top heavy. Now, Roman Anthony had a 140 WRC plus and 2.7 WAR in his time played. He also had a 290 batting average. The power started to come along a little bit more towards the end of the season. Can't wait to see what he would do in a full year in 2026. Now, the number 9 right fielder of the 2025 season was Lawrence Butler of the Athletics. It was a very disappointing year for Lawrence Butler. He was our preseason number 8. And you may say, well, a disappointing year. How did he get onto this list again? Again, right field is not great. He stayed on the field, and it allowed him to stack up a lot of production when it comes to runs scored, RBIs, over 80 runs, over 60 RBIs. That said, he was a below average hitter. He was solid defensively. He was solid on the base path. So just came out to about a league average player who stayed on the field for the entire year. That got him onto the top 10. But I think he is capable of a lot more, especially on the offensive end. And the number 8 spot, though, is Wilyer Abreu, the second right fielder for the Boston Red Sox to be on this list. He missed some time, which is what allowed Roman Anthony to play right field, and so Roman Anthony ended up playing more games in right than he did anywhere else. But Wilyer Abreu was healthy for 115 games, and he played pretty much all of those in right field. And he was a mildly above average hitter. And then he had really good defense, and of course he has an incredible arm. And so slightly above average plus over 100 games played, that is very solid, and that gets him to the number 8 spot on our list. The number 7 right fielder of the 2025 season was Ronald Acuna Jr. Now, when on the field, Acuna was incredible, but he just played 95 games. He had a 160 WRC plus and put up 3.5 WAR in that short period of time, so obviously a very incredible level of player, as we all know. But we just need him to stay healthy and stay on the field. Similar to Roman Anthony, when he plays a full year, it's going to be scary. Obviously, we've already seen Acuna do that. We know what that looks like. But only playing half a year can only get you so high on this list. Also, his defense is really bad, which is kind of a minor point here, because I don't know if playing better defense would have actually moved him up the list any. Look at outs above average, which is an accumulating stat. It's not just per attempt you have. It is the more attempts you get, the worse it'll become, basically. In that stat, Ronald Acuna Jr. in just 90 games was one of the 10 worst defenders in the entire league. And if he had played the whole year, right, if he had played the other half, he would have been the worst defender in the league by a country mile. But obviously, the offense carries him. He was our preseason number 4. If he gets healthy, maybe he gives a little bit more on the defensive end, but just the way he hits alone makes him one of the best players in the league. Now, number 6 right fielder of the 2025 season was Sal Frelick, not in our preseason top 10. Now, he is the first person on this list to combine both a full season with being a well above average player. He's also the only person on this list to combine those two things. You'll see with the very next spot, the top 5 jump up into like almost MVP level players. So Sal Frelick's kind of all alone here in this tier of well above average but not elite, and also still healthy enough to play a full year. So Sal Frelick is a solid jump above the guys like Lawrence Butler and Wilyer Abreu, who maybe played a good amount of games, played over 100 games, but were like average. Sal Frelick is a good jump above average. And he also has a lot more games than what Acuna and Roman Anthony had. Now, he had very solid offense. He had 114 WRC plus a threat on the base path, plus really good defense. So strong on all sides of the game. Not really like elite at anything, but obviously very good at everything. And then, like I said, just staying on the field is another big part of that. Now, the number 5 right fielder of the 2025 season was Kyle Tucker, our preseason number 3. And this is where we get into the level of players that, I mean, they're not MVPs, but they are not far off, right? These are some of the most elite players in all of baseball from here on out. Tucker played 136 games for the Cubs. He had incredible offense. I mean, 90th percentile in offensive value, 25 stolen bases as well. 130, what was it? I think it was a 136 WRC plus, if I remember correctly. For some reason, I didn't write that one down. The number 4 spot on this list goes to our preseason number 2, Juan Soto. I mean, do I need to tell you guys what Juan Soto did in 2025? One of the best hitters in the league. Ohtani was the only better hitter in the National League, period. He's the second best hitting right fielder as well. And I think you guys know what right fielder hits better than him. Soto stole 38 bases this year. He hit 43 home runs, 120 RBIs, 105 RBIs. With those offensive numbers, why is he not higher on this list? I mean, that's offense and base running, actually. Well, he is one of the 10 worst defenders in the league as well. He and Acuna. Now, speaking of defense, the number 3 right fielder of the 2025 season was our preseason number 5, Fernando Tatis Jr. 92nd percentile in offense, 93rd percentile in base running, 92nd percentile in defense. He's elite at everything. I mean, what else do you want? He's got an elite arm, he's got elite range, he's got solid power, he's got good contact. He is one of the best players in the league and played at an incredible level in 2025. Now, the number 2 right fielder of the 2025 season was Corbin Carroll, preseason number 6. Very similar to Tatis. He is an elite hitter, elite base running, elite defender. And I stand by the fact that if he hadn't missed just a little bit of time, he actually could have been in the conversation and possibly even won the NL MVP in 2025. Now, if we compare Carroll to Tatis, because these two are very close, so we're going to kind of dive in and put these two side by side for a second. Carroll is the best base runner in the league. He had more home runs than Tatis. He went 30 for 30, whereas Tatis only had 30 stolen bases and I think 24 home runs. Tatis had a 131 WRC plus. Carroll had a 139 WRC plus. Obviously, both of these guys are incredible. I think the slight edge, at least for the 2025 season, goes to Corbin Carroll, though. But, of course, the number 1 right fielder in all of baseball in the 2025 season was Aaron Judge. I assume I don't need to go into much detail here. I assume you guys know why this is, and I assume you guys saw this one coming. I mean, how many other right fielders won the MVP in their league? Aaron Judge led all of baseball with 10 WAR. I mean, nobody at any position had more than him. So I think it's pretty easy to see that he was the number 1 right fielder, especially in the 2025 season when he's probably the best player in all of baseball in the 2025 season. That concludes this top 10 list. Make sure to come back tomorrow for the top 10 DHs of the 2025 season.